Okay guys, so yesterday we went over Notice a Note. If you remember, that's the new strategy that we're going to use while we're reading different texts. And basically what this is it's a different way to look at something. So when I'm reading and something pops out at me, something really important, I'm going to stop and I'm going to kind of take it a step further. Instead of just thinking, oh, whoa, I think that's important, and then moving on, I'm going to stop and do something with it so that I can experience that deeper understanding of what we want. Okay, so our first one that we went over, remember these are called signposts. So our first signpost is called contrast and contradiction. And so that's when a character has been saying and acting one way all along, and then suddenly they do something totally the opposite. So maybe my character has been really nervous and really reserved and shy and not outgoing, and then suddenly they do something really brave and outgoing and just crazy, and that's totally not like them. So that would be a contrast and contradiction. So in my story, I would stop, I would notice and note it, so I would write a little CC out to the side, and then I'm going to ask myself the anchor question. If you remember, each of these signposts is going to have their own anchor question. For this one, for contrast and contradiction, I'm going to ask myself, why is the character doing that? Why would they suddenly change and do something so different from what they've been doing? So if my character has been shy and not outgoing, and then they suddenly do something crazy and brave, I'm going to say, what do I think might have changed? You know, did something happen? Why would they all of a sudden do something so wild? So then I'm going to come up with my predictions. I'm going to say, well, maybe they are actually a brave person and they were pretending to be shy for some reason. Or maybe they want to impress someone. Maybe they have a crush and they want to impress them by doing something crazy and outgoing. Maybe they just want to make more friends and they think if they're doing these crazy brave things, then that'll get them more friends. So I'm just making different predictions on why I think they might be doing that, and I'm going to write that out to the side. And if you remember, that's going to help me learn more about the character as a whole and how they're developing. I'm going to learn about the plot and the conflict, and then the relationship between the setting and the plot. How does the setting affect different things going on? Okay, so we started this practice yesterday with "Thank you, ma'am." So I want you to get that out. Now, each class ended in a different spot, but y'all weren't super far apart, okay? So I'm just going to start with where my first class was, and if your class was a little farther than this, just bear with me for a couple minutes until we catch up, okay? So if you remember, this is about a boy who's trying to steal a woman's purse. It doesn't go right. The purse breaks and he falls down. She picks him up, gets mad at him, and then she says, "Your face is dirty. You're going to come with me and we're going to wash your face. Your face is going to get washed this evening." And so we found a CC here, and we said it's here where she says, "Your face is dirty. I got a great mind to wash your face for you. Then it will get washed this evening," and she starts up the street dragging the frightened boy behind her. So we said our CC is that she's taking the boy who tried to rob her to her house to wash his face. Okay? So that's out of the ordinary, right? Up here, she's mad at him. She even kicked him because he was trying to rob her. And then now she's going to take him to her house to wash his face. So that kind of goes against how she's been acting. So I'm going to ask myself, why is the character doing that? Why do I think she all of a sudden changed her mind? Well, some predictions that we might come up with is maybe she just feels sorry for him. Maybe she just feels sorry for him and kind of wants to help him. Maybe she assumes that his life might be hard and that's why he's trying to steal from her. Maybe she's just kind of a germaphobe. Maybe she's a germaphobe and she just doesn't want his face to be dirty. She just wants him to have a clean face. So I'm gonna write germaphobe doesn't want him to have a dirty face. So maybe there's not that much to it. Maybe it's something just as simple as she just doesn't want his face to be dirty. So make sure that you're writing down everything that I'm writing. So I'm thinking, why would she do that? I'm thinking maybe she feels sorry for him and wants to help him. Maybe she just simply doesn't want his face to be dirty. Maybe she can relate. Maybe she had a hard childhood and had to steal, and so now she's trying to help him. Maybe, like I know sometimes with little boys, and they get really dirty and they don't want to get clean. They don't want to take a bath and they don't want to have like clean faces and clean hands. So maybe that's kind of like her way of like sort of like a punishment or teaching him a lesson. Like, oh, you did something wrong, you're going to come and clean your face. Anything. These are just predictions, remember. Just some ideas of why you think she might have done it. Okay, so let's go to the other side. It says, he looked as if he were 14 or 15, frail and willow wild, in tennis shoes and blue jeans. The woman said, you ought to be my son. I would teach you right from wrong. Least I can do right now is to wash your face. Are you hungry? So she's taking him to her house to wash his face. She's going to feed him while they're there too. So if you remember, I said these lines are where I took some parts out. So right here, I just kind of want to make a note because it's going to come back later and it might confuse you. Right here, one of the parts that I took out is she asked him why he was trying to steal from her, like what he was trying to get with that money. And he tells her it's because, I'm going to write, he tried to steal because he wanted to buy a pair of blue suede shoes. He tried to steal because he wanted to buy a pair of blue suede shoes. Suede is S-U-E-D-E. Suede is just a different type of fabric. So back when this was written, blue suede shoes were like a really popular thing that people wanted. There are some songs that talk about blue suede shoes. So he says that's why he was stealing. He wanted to buy a pair of blue suede shoes. I just want to point that out because later it'll come up and I don't want you to be confused. Okay, so going on. In another corner of the room behind a screen was a gas plate and an ice box. Mrs. Jones got up and went behind the screen. The woman did not watch the boy to see if he was going to run now, nor did she watch her purse, which she left behind her on the daybed. But the boy took care to sit on the far side of the room where he thought she could easily see him out of the corner of her eye if she wanted to. He did not want to be mistrusted now. So right here, I'm going to stop again. I'm going to write CC out to the side. So really right here, I think I see 2. So here's 1. I'm going to underline, I'm going to put a little 1 here. And then my second is right after it. I'm going to put a little 2. I think I kind of found 2 CCs in 1. Okay, so this first one, the woman did not watch the boy to see if he was going to run now, nor did she watch her purse, which she left behind on the daybed. Okay, so I'm thinking that's a CC, because before, if you remember, she dragged him to her house, right? She held on to him so that he couldn't run away, and he was trying to steal from her, right? And she was mad and took her purse back. So now, all of a sudden, she's not really worrying about watching him. She's not really worrying about making sure that he doesn't run away or keeping an eye on her purse so that he doesn't steal anything. It's almost kind of like she's not worried about it now. So now I'm kind of like, well, I mean, he just tried to steal from her. Why wouldn't she take care to keep an eye on her purse? So, when I see a CC, I'm going to ask myself the anchor question, which is, why is the character doing that? And I'm going to make my predictions. So, my first one that I'm thinking is, maybe she trusts him not to take advantage. So write that down real quick and then I'll explain what I mean by that. Maybe she trusts him not to take advantage. So when I say that, I mean, she brought this boy into her house. She had him wash his face and get cleaned up. She's feeding him dinner. After she's doing all these nice things for him, maybe she's thinking, surely he's not going to steal from me now, right? I've done all these great things. I'm sure he's not going to take advantage of it now and steal from me and run away. So that's my first prediction. Maybe she wants to test him and see if she can trust him. Maybe she's hoping that he learned a lesson from this, and by leaving her purse out, she's kind of testing to see if he's learned his lesson or not. Is he going to do the right thing now, or is he still going to try to steal from her? Okay, so that's for my first one. For my second one, again, I'm going to ask myself the anchor question. Why is the character doing that? So I have, the boy took care to sit on the far side of the room where he thought she could easily see him out of the corner of her eye if she wanted to. He did not want to be mistrusted now. Okay, so he didn't want to go with her. He tried to steal with her. Steal from her. He tried to run away. He didn't want to be there, but now, he's staying. He's taking care to sit on the side of the room where she can still see him. Because if you remember, there's a screen kind of separating them. And so what that means is, like, I don't know how to describe it. Kind of just like a room divider almost. And so there's kind of like a screen blocking off that kitchen to where she's on the other side and she can't really see him. So he could easily go and take something from her purse. He could easily run. He could do all kinds of things and she wouldn't be able to see him. But he chooses to sit somewhere where she can. He chooses to move to where she can still see him out of the corner of her eye. So why would he do that? If he was just trying to steal from her and run away, why would he make sure that she can still see him? And why would he not want to be mistrusted now? What's changed? So here, I'm going to make my predictions. Why do I think he did that? Maybe he wants her to trust him. Maybe he wants to be trusted. If he's having to steal to buy stuff, maybe not very many people trust him in his life. Trust is an important thing. And I think maybe even if you don't think so, you want people to trust you. You want your parents to trust you. I'm sure you wouldn't like it if your parents, maybe some of them do, if they constantly are reading through your text messages and looking through your pictures, right? You don't necessarily like that. You want them to be able to trust you. So maybe he wants to be trusted. Maybe he is pretending. Maybe he's trying to trick her into believing him, trick her into trusting him so that he can maybe steal something even bigger from her. So maybe he hasn't learned a lesson. Maybe he's not doing that for the right reasons. He just kind of wants to trick her now. Okay, so here are my predictions for both of those. So I'm going to keep going. Do you need somebody to go to the store? Asked the boy. Maybe to get some milk or something? Don't believe I do, said the woman, unless you just want some sweet milk yourself. I was going to make cocoa out of this canned milk I got here. That will be fine, said the boy. So I'm going to stop because I see another one right here. So my CC here is kind of similar to this one, right? He didn't want to be there. I'm sure he was probably a little mad at her for making him go, sort of almost kind of like kidnapping him, forcing him to go and wash his face. He was upset because he got caught stealing. And now he's saying, do you need someone to go to the store to get something for you? Like, can I help you? Right? Can I help you in some way? And so I'm going to ask myself the anchor question again, which is, why is the character doing that? Why do I think all of a sudden he wants to help her? He wants to be super helpful and do these nice things for her. Why would that all of a sudden change? So now I'm going to think maybe he's just using it as another way to escape. Maybe he's just trying to escape. Maybe he thinks if he goes out to the store, he can run away and get out of there. Maybe he's trying to escape. Maybe, kind of with this, maybe he's just trying to steal more money. Maybe he's still trying to steal, and this is his new plan. If he goes to the store for her, she's going to have to give him some money to buy the stuff. So maybe he thinks he's just going to take that money and run. Or maybe Maybe he's thankful for how she's helped him. She didn't call the cops. She didn't turn him in. She brought him home to clean him up and feed him. Maybe he's thankful and he just genuinely wants to help. Maybe he's thankful for what she's done for him, how she's taken care of him, and he just genuinely wants to do something nice for her, wants to help her out the way that she's helped him. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Last part. When they were finished eating, she got up and said, "Now here, take this $10 and buy yourself some blue suede shoes. And next time, do not make the mistake of latching on to my pocketbook, nor nobody else's, because shoes come by devilish like that will burn your feet. I gotta get my rest now, but I wish you would behave yourself, son, from here on." She led him down the hall to the front door and opened it. "Good night. Behave yourself, boy." He barely managed to say, "Thank you," before she shut the door, and he never saw her again. Okay, so right here I want to point something out real quick, where it says, because shoes come by devilish like that will burn your feet. What that means is, because before that she says, don't try to do that again. Don't try to steal from me. Don't try to steal from someone else's. Because shoes come by devilish like that will burn your feet. What that means is, when you get something from a bad way, when you do something bad to get what you want, it'll burn your feet. It'll kind of come back to bite you. So it's kind of almost like another way of just saying, like, karma is going to come back to you. Okay, so this bottom part, I want you to try to do on your own, okay? I will tell you there's one or two in this bottom section. I want you to see if you can find them. So when you do, you're going to mark it, CC. You're going to ask yourself the anchor question, why is the character doing that? And then you're going to write some predictions of why. Okay, so take a second. Look through this again, see if you can find one or two, and then on the next slide it's going to ask you to tell me about one. Okay, so take a second, figure that out, and then move on to the next part.